I'm Heston Blumenthal, and I run one of the best restaurants in the world. I don't do food in an ordinary way. I think food should be fun. A delicious, spectacular adventure with every bite being a delight to the senses. I want to create meals that people will remember for the rest of their lives.
I got off on it. It was very, very sexy.
I believe the future of cooking lies in the secrets of the past.
So I'm on a mission to use myth, science and history to create the greatest feasts ever seen.
Tonight, it's the Romans, and that means theatrical, deviant and orgasmic.
Oh my God!
I'm on a food adventure in the extreme. So throw away your cookbooks. And please don't try this at home. I want to make the most extraordinary feast ever eaten and reinvent gastronomy. I take inspiration from all around, and I've discovered lately that history has incredible ideas that I can use. These aren't dead recipes. These are the future of cooking. One era I'm desperate to explore because it was exciting, it was theatrical, it was extreme, is the Roman Empire. Well, like me, the Romans had no boundaries. So the dishes they created were out of this world. Now, I want some of that.
The Romans were a highly civilized and technologically advanced empire. But they weren't only famous for using flush toilets, straight roads and bikinis. They had lusty, if unusual, appetites, eating everything from flamingos and sows' wounds to parrot tongues and jellyfish. For tonight's menu, I'm going to be inspired by the feast the deviant Roman Emperor Caligula would have eaten in the 1st century BC.
Rome was a world of gods and gladiators, and the Romans had unbounded imagination which they brought into their dishes, literally creating theatrical spectacles that astounded their diners. And that's exactly what I try and do in my cooking.
I'm inviting 6 guests for an unforgettable banquet. They have no idea of what delights lie in wait for them.
The only thing I know about Romans is that they lay on couches and they had grapes dangled into their mouths. I can't believe Heston's going to do that.
They used to eat too much. They gorged themselves, and I think they must have been the first bulimics in history.
I'm hoping there'll be nothing dripping with blood. I'm hoping there'll be nothing alive.
Who knows? It's in, as the Romans probably said, the lap of the gods.
I've created a Roman-inspired feasting room.
Oh, wow.
To give my guests a classical dining experience.
It is beautiful.
Cheers, cheers.
Coraggio.
On the menu tonight, a huge hog with edible intestines, a savoury custard made of brains, and a titillating, ejaculating cake.
Mine has got bubbles. Oh!
At one notable Roman feast, over 600 ostrich brains were served. But I've dreamt up a different hors d'oeuvre.
Something that we're going to be serving at the beginning of the meal is true Roman delicacy. In the spirit of Caligula, who apparently enjoyed eating private parts of various things, various creatures. We're actually making pork scratchings, but from nipples. The idea is that we've got these sheets of pig skin, cutting out the disc containing the nipple. So these then go into a hot oven, 230, 240, until they puff up, go nice and crisp. We're going to finish them with some just salt and coriander mix and a little bit of pepper. You can see it now. I think my locals selling these pig's nipple scratchings.
Oh, hang on.
This is just a piece of theatre.
Animals' sexual organs symbolised wealth and power and were eaten by the elite, so they're perfect for my celebrity guests. I'm going to eavesdrop on their reactions.
But what are we now eating?
This one is your pig's nipples.
No,
Pig's nipples.
it's udder. Yeah, udder. It's udder.
Oh, no, you can see the actual...
Yes,
There is a pig's nipple.
that is a pig's nipple.
That's a
Very
very erect
crunchy.
nipple. Must have been cold.
Very sort of delicate flavour of pork about them, but they're incredibly crunchy.
Would anyone like more of my nipples?
As the bishop said.
Oh, go on, go on.
I love pork scratchings, and I'm always complaining that it's not scratchy enough. And so I love it when I find it scratchy.
The Romans' cuisine is the precursor to Italian cookery.
The Romans brought civilization to the Western world, and they were the first people to write their recipes down. They left us with an amazing culinary legacy. I was flicking through a famous Roman cookbook called Apicius when I came across this recipe for calf's brain custard. Like the Romans, I love challenging people's expectations. That's basically why I created snail porridge. I just love the idea of taking seemingly incompatible ingredients and combining them to create a surprisingly delicious dish.
Before I reinvent it for today, I need to know what the original calf's brain custard tasted like. So I'm taking my brains to an expert Italian baker, Rocco Panzarella, who's going to help me make it.
Hey Rocco, how you doing?
Hi, Aslan. How are you?
Good, you?
Not bad.
Okay, now, the Roman recipe.
I'm going to follow the recipe to the letter, but there is method in my madness.
Believe it or not, I think that calf's brains, rose petals, savoury custard can be delicious. I'm convinced there's a great dish in there somewhere. I'm not convinced about this one though.
The Romans considered this savoury custard a delicacy. It's not the sort of dish we're used to, but Rocco's familiar with it.
Savory custard, we need to go back to the region of Marche. They do this custard, it's like a settle custard.
The recipe, actually, just is take roses and remove all of the petals.
I think roses can taste delicious. The Romans loved their scent and bitter taste and considered them an aphrodisiac.
So far, so good. The next bit is the bit that really concerns me, because I've got to add garum.
Rocco hasn't got any, as it's extinct. But the Romans loved garum sauce made from fermented fish guts.
The closest thing we thought we could get to it was Thai fish sauce, because it's fermented fish.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to then add 20 gallons of liquid armpit. It's going to put hairs on your chest.
I'm not sure about using so much of this strong Thai sauce. It's my one change to the recipe, but the legions may have loved it.
In Roman times, water was carried through lead pipes, and that meant that the lead actually destroyed their taste buds. Hence, most of their recipes became really strong. So next, take 4 brains. Have it. Oh, God! Oh, Jesus! Have you smelt it?
Oh, yes.
It's unleashed a beast.
I'm using hot coals to bake the dish, just as the Romans did. Usually I'll taste anything, but this dish has rattled me.
I'm waiting for those complex overtones of flavour to come flooding over me. Actually, it's nowhere near as bad as it smells.
I'm worried this stinking dish isn't good enough.
Right, chaps?
What will the public think?
It's a baked custard with brains and fermented fish gut sauce.
No, mate. No, I don't. I think it's not too bad. I don't do fish guts.
I think he likes it.
Yeah, lovely.
Did not even with some ketchup.
No.
Can't tempt you. No. Come back. Come back. The brain custard was completely ruined by the smelly Thai fish sauce. But I'm thinking, perhaps the Roman original version tastes better. Garum was the flavour of Rome. It was the Romans' equivalent of tomato ketchup. They were wild about this stuff, and they used it in 90% of all recipes.
The Romans adored garum, which they sploshed on everything. It was a sauce made from the fresh guts of a still gasping fish. The fish guts were mixed with brine, fermented in the sun for 3 months, and filtered. Sounds like disgusting rotten fish, but the resulting sauce had a very complex flavour. Garum was so popular that it was mass-produced. The Romans also used it in cosmetics and as a medicine for dog bites. I want to check out the hype about garum, so I'm off to Devon to go mackerel fishing and make some homemade garum myself.
Morning.
Morning, Heston.
How you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
Good.
Fermented fish sauce may sound disgusting, but the Romans were actually ahead of their time in cooking with it.
Actually, most of us in Britain would have eaten this stuff somewhere in the last probably 5 years. The base of Worcester sauce is fermented anchovies.
Salcombe fishermen Chris and Mark can catch around 200 mackerel daily with the ancient hook and line method.
When we got these down, we'd jig these in the water, and they look like small bait fish, which the mackerel will be naturally feeding on.
Right, let's get jiggy then.
This is about how the Romans would have probably done it.
I'm not the world's most patient person, that's the problem. Oh, hang on. I think I might have some in here. As soon as this comes out of the water, I need its guts. It has to be a still breathing fish. Do you want to have a look at our harvest of still breathing mackerel guts?
After 3 hours, we've caught enough fish to make the garum for my savoury custard. According to the Roman recipe, the guts have to be fermented for 3 months before being filtered. I like slow food, but even I think that's excessive.
And now I need to make some of this garum. So this is my portable lab. Even the Romans had fast food, and I found a recipe for a quick and speedy version of garum.
First, I've simmered the guts in brine. Now I'm going to use a vacuum pump to filter them.
Obviously not having the patience of a Roman, but having the equipment, I can actually get a really clear liquid. So this should be my fast food Roman garum. That's actually really surprising. It's like a delicate but rich broth made from sort of roasted langoustine or shrimp shells, and rather delicious. You know, these Romans might not have been that bad after all.
My garum was a delicious revelation. Now I'm going to use it to reinvent the brain custard recipe.
I think the motivation for persevering with this was the fact that if you take the main elements, take them on their own, and basically give them the potential that I think they can achieve.
I'm using my delicious homemade garum in the custard.
It can add real richness to a dish without taking over.
I've also replaced the eggs in the recipe, which made it too rich.
We're going to add gellan, which is it's a gelling agent that's heat resistant. It make a really, really delicate custard. So you bite into it, releases its flavour really quickly.
I know brains won't be to everyone's taste, so I need to be clever and cook and present them in an irresistible way. So I'm frying my brains.
We're going to deep fry them. And this is a mixture of Japanese breadcrumbs and little anchovies. A lot of people would think of deep frying as being a really aggressive way of cooking, but actually it can be a way of preserving the kind of integrity of really delicate ingredients. So what the batter does is, as it cooks, it forms a crust, and that crust actually protects the brains from the heat of the oil. I think it seems to have an essence of Roman recipe, but it is certainly a thoroughly modern dish. It all counts for nothing if the people that are eating this actually don't enjoy it.
It's nerve-wracking. Have I done enough to improve the 2,000-year-old Roman recipe and make it delicious?
Right, come on. Turn the volume up.
Whatever it is, it looks frightfully dainty.
It looks manageable.
It's not pulsating, it's not throbbing.
It's a fish's eyeball. It must be.
It's not a fish's eyeball.
This is a cast brain custard.
Oh, good.
That custard is one of the most exquisite flavoured, texture things I've ever eaten in my life.
That is amazingly good.
Yeah?
Oh.
I'm just locking eyes with you now,
my
and I'm going to
God,
ride on
that's
your
good.
enthusiasm.
Yeah, no, that...
I've had something.
Honestly.
That's a potato croquette, as far as I'm concerned. That's what I'm telling myself.
So these are little bits of calf's brain in, I would say, Japanese breadcrumbs. We've got calf's brain balls.
That's the brain.
The brain.
Hang on, come on. That was... Right, what a clever trick Blumenthal's played on me. Give him a thing that looks like, you know, something you get in a pub.
Yeah, it tells you about it.
I'll enjoy that. I'll wolf down a brain. I'll have your brains. Yeah. I've never been as surprised by food.
If I had been a Roman, I would have enjoyed eating all of this.
And more.
Having fooled my guests by using my brains, I've now found a showstopper for my main Roman dish. A huge pig, complete with secret edible intestines. The main attraction of any spectacular Roman feast was the Trojan hog. The Romans invented dinner theatre. They loved food that entertained them. And like me, they realised that it's not just about taste and flavour. It's about what we hear, what we see, what we smell. I suppose I've inherited the Romans' love of food drama. The centrepiece for one of Emperor Caligula's feasting orgies could well have been the Trojan hog. The hog was a huge pig that was brought to the table and sliced open, and from its insides fell what looked like intestines. To the shocked guests, it initially appeared that the chef had neglected to gut the animal. At one feast, this shocked the host so much he ordered his chef flogged, until he discovered that the intestines were actually tasty sausages. The chef was spared and garlanded. If I'm to create something amazing, this is the perfect place to start: Italy. I've learned the Romans were expert sausage makers. Indeed, the word sausage comes from the Latin salsus, meaning salted, which is why I'm following this historical route. I'm travelling along the Salt Road, which is kind of the main salt trading routes in Roman times. I need to try and really get a grips of Roman food culture and their relationship with the pig. It's going to be really key for my Trojan hog. Loro Piceno is in the Le Marche region, where I've tracked down a master Italian sausage maker. His family have run the business for generations. This chap here, the butcher, apparently does some remarkable things with pork.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Heston.
Where come you from?
I'm from London. No, England, nearly.
England?
And you?
You? Peppe Cotto.
Great to meet you.
I play trombe.
You know, I've done some surreal things before. I've become almost tearful.
Just a moment.
He's barking mad. I didn't expect it. Oh, God. I didn't expect this. I had some really serious questions to ask, and now they've all completely fallen out of my head, and I'm just mildly stunned. But the reason I'm here, I'm trying to make a Trojan hog. We need to make sausages to look like intestines, so can you give me any advice?
My grandfather put inside cacao. Just a moment.
Cacao? Cocoa beans. If you look in here, see these darker bits? That's the cocoa nibs.
Testing?
Yes, please. Pepe's family recipe is remarkable. If I like the sausage meat, I'll use it in my intestines.
In English, fantastic.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, most people think of cocoa as chocolate, it's sweet. But cacao is bitter. It's like coffee. It's as bitter as coffee. To use it in butchery, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Now, come in laboratory.
am I ever going to get out of here? This is my chance to pick up the tricks of the sausage trade from Pepe. I'm going to learn how the Romans preserved their meat before refrigeration. The reasons why the sausages, I think, were so important in Roman times were the fact that actually, by the time you got the meat, by salting it and mixing it with the other spices, you're curing or preserving it.
Soft, more soft.
These are techniques that were honed over years. Actually, what's been produced because of that is actually quite wonderful. Here's to the pig. Now I've got to figure out how to make the sausage intestines fall out of my Trojan hog. Bloody Romans. I'm trying to make the most theatrical Roman feast dish ever. The notorious Trojan hog. The truly dramatic moment with the Trojan hog is when the intestine sausages drop out. I've never seen what that looks like. Well, there's only one way to find out. Bernie Perez is a slaughterman on Laverstoke Farm. He's got 33 years of experience and he's going to show me exactly how to gut a pig. These are fine saddlebacks.
Remove the penis.
Oh, I felt that.
Yeah. I'm just going to break the cavity. I'm just opening, letting the intestines come out.
This is what the guests are supposed to see when the hog is cut open.
There's the intestines.
I've now got to try and make some sausages that have resemblance to this. So I've got to think of a way of trying to...
Duplicating this?
Yeah. There's a possibility where might be ambitious and make more than one type of sausage, different size, slightly pack them in differently, different fillings. I think for the meal it's got to clearly signify that they're the intestines. But I can't think of very many people that would like to tuck into something that looked like this. This might be one of the most difficult things I've ever tried to do. Even if I get it right from a visual point of view, it's going to have to taste right. Bloody Romans. My sausages have to look like the real deal. The whole concept of the dish will fail if they don't. I've a hunch how to make the bangers look like white small intestines. Chickpeas were apparently really popular in Roman times. So the idea for this is to try and make a white sausage, looks like intestine, but it's actually made from chickpea.
You want me to hold this and I'll pipe it? You want to feed it down?
Carl, do you know what? I'd love to.
I think I need to push not so hard and you have to stroke faster.
So, you know what? This is two fully grown men. There just seems something wrong about that.
Stroking their sausage.
Carl. I've put ginger and carrots in with the chickpea puree. The sausages need to taste amazing, as well as look the part. Whoa! The art of sausage making is an art. It is a skill and something that people literally take years to learn, years to master. My intestine sausages have exploded. They're too heavy for the casings. I think we need something that's lighter than that. It's just the texture's not right. It's got a nice flavour, but flavour was actually better before it was put in the casing and cooked. Literally, we've got to start from scratch. But I won't give up on the Trojan hog idea yet. I can't let one failure damn the dish. Sometimes I do question why I seemingly make life difficult for myself. Why do I feel this need to attempt things that might seemingly be impossible? And this is no exception. Fortunately, when a dish like this gets under my skin and in my blood, I've got no choice. It's almost like this magnetic force pulling me. I'm putting the sausage problem on hold while I try cooking the whole hog in one go. At the restaurant, we cook a lot of our meats in a sealed bag in a water bath, and that way you get this sort of unbelievably accurate, constant temperature, which gives you the most tender, juiciest, and full flavour results. The Romans forced slaves to hold their pigs in steam to cook, but I'm not that crazy. So I'm trying out another radical cooking method to make my hog taste wonderful.
So Tony, the idea with this is that by cooking something in a bag, sealed, vac pack,
Yep.
you keep all the moisture and the juices in. But we've got nothing big enough to cook a whole pig in.
Okay.
And apparently you have.
I have. I've got some beautiful big pots that you could cook a pig in, Heston.
Don't try this at home unless you've got a forklift truck, a vacuum-packed pig and plenty of hot water.
Whoops. Made a bit of a pig's ear of that, didn't I? Might be a bit bruised. Might need a bit of ointment.
With my pig recaptured, I have to choose which cooking pot I want to use. And there's a great variety on offer.
Okay, Tony, what have you got? What's my options?
Well, this is your first option, Heston. This is an all singing, all dancing.
I think that might be a bit turbulent for my pig.
Okay, and this is the Alberta Spa, and this is the one we do in all the funky colours, as you can see.
It's very bling, this one, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
My pig's not quite as bling as that.
This is our Victoria Spa.
Now, that's a better name.
Victoria.
That's more like it.
All chrome jets, waterfalls, lights. You know, everybody wants this one.
The boys here have turned the hot tub into a giant water bath, raising its temperature to a constant 60 degrees. It will cook the pig slowly if left in for 24 hours.
Do you think he's going to like it in there then?
I think, yeah. I think you might have created the world's first spa for pigs. Are you ready?
This is the first time ever a hog has been cooked in a hot tub, all in the cause of scientific research.
I do like to think I'm a relatively normal bloke, by the way. If we can just pretend we're not standing here. And I'm very inquisitive. I'm never content with what I do, and I always want to strive to get better and better. And that learning process is absolutely fascinating. It's one of the things that drives me forward. If there wasn't a serious reason for doing this, then I wouldn't be doing it.
After 24 hours in the hot tub, is my hog ready?
And this might seem like a slightly gimmicky way of cooking a pig, sticking it in a hot tub. But in fact, it works brilliantly. And to cook a piece of meat that's this big, evenly and controllably, it's kind of the only way to do it.
But the intestine sausages were a real challenge. My chickpea idea bombed, so I've invented some other bangers.
What we went for in the end was 2 different types of sausage. So this one signifies a small intestine, basically a chicken-based seasoning, some spices. So it's very light. It's like a white hot dog. The idea with this one, the large intestine, was to make a sausage that was kind of browny grey in colour but still appetising. And I wanted to take inspiration from my trip to Italy in that lunatic butcher. So it's got some cocoa in it. At this stage, I'm pretty excited about the way it's looking. But it's all very well using food to create theatre, and that's exactly the essence of what the Romans were doing. But that counts for nothing if when they put the food in their mouths, it doesn't taste very good.
I'm desperate for this dish to steal the show. To give it colour, the hog is going to be spit roasted and basted in garum.
Let's mix the garum with some pork stock. So as that roasts, those sugars are going to start to caramelise.
Then it's hung from its own bespoke chariot. Before serving, I have some delicate surgery to perform on my hog.
The idea is we've actually got an endoscope to try and get the sausages to the right part of the belly, so when I cut it at the table, they fall out. The patient is sedated. Right, I'm through. They might just walk out after this.
After all the abattoirs and hot tubs, I'm hoping my centrepiece of Caligula's feast will steal the show.
I think we absolutely do.
Ah!
We do this point, there we go.
The smoking pig.
Christ almighty, look at that.
Yeah, it's a Trojan hog.
This is the Trojan hog.
Good question.
Finally, the hog is to reveal its secrets. The guests are caught up in the spectacle of it all.
Frogs.
Snakes. It's
Frogs.
going to be snakes.
It's going to be.
What's it going to be? I'll take bets.
If it's a live bird, I'm leaving.
Look at that! Hey!
Look at intestines.
Oh, let's call them sausages for now.
Bit of sausage. A white sausage.
There's a large and small intestine.
Thank heavens for little intestine. Hooray! I mean, wow!
And that little pig produced it all.
Before the bangers, though, my hot tub pork.
Oh, belly pork.
This looks delicious.
Damn it, to crikey goodness, that's the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. Isn't it, though?
I'm still on tenterhooks. The whole point of this dish is that the sausages are irresistible.
Can I help you to some
Would you mind?
innards?
Yeah, give me
This white anemic sausage. Oh, amazing.
Yeah?
It's not like a normal sausage would taste. Very soft inside. So this was my favourite dish so far, but I think it's just Heston's cookies. Brilliant, isn't he?
I'm finding them delicious.
This came out, and this, I hope you're impressed by this, because damn it, I'm going to eat this.
Cinnamon.
Came out, that's delicious.
And I think this is probably the closest thing we've got to a dish which the Romans would actually themselves recognise. The Romans would have laughed themselves absolutely silly at this. So this is the classic sort of vulgar, coarse humour that distinguished the Roman Empire.
With the drama of my Trojan hog dazzling my guests, I now want to up the ante and hunt down an orgasmic finale for dessert.
I came across a dish in this classic Roman novel called the Satyricon, and the dish was ejaculating cake. Now, the Romans designed their dishes to create a response from the diners, just in the same way that I do. I love the Roman sense of humour when it comes to cooking. If I can create this dish, my diners will remember this for the rest of their lives.
The lusty god Priapus was an important figure for the Romans. He was a symbol of fertility and a protector of male genitalia. In the Roman novel The Satyricon, the guests are feeling tired at the end of Trimalchio's feast. A statue of Priapus, complete with a huge phallus and an apron full of fruits, is served to get the guests feeling randy. They're intrigued, as slaves then serve smaller cakes. When picked up, these cakes squirt out saffron juice at the slightest touch. I've learnt that trickery was commonplace in Roman cuisine, so these naughty cakes would have delighted diners. It's time for me and the boys to find out how they could work.
What we're trying to do is make ejaculating cakes. Where better place to start for ejaculating cakes than in the car park? I've got my safety wear and a motley crew.
We're mixing mint sweets with a fizzy drink, which creates a rapid release of carbon dioxide.
We're going to get these Mentos in a bottle of Diet Coke, and we haven't got very long from once you put them in till it starts frothing.
Mischievous kids all over the world have discovered the rough surface of the sweets creates massive bubble growth in the drink, causing it to fountain up.
We're going to start with a couple, just in case. Okay, anyone close to these, goggles on, please. Well, that's certainly an ejaculating cola bottle. Why, if we had umbrellas, we could stand there in sheer confidence. You'd have to run away like little girls.
Oh, no, no! I was only two.
Believe it or not, I think I'm onto something. Now I'm adopting the principles from the first explosion, but using dry ice and water instead to rapidly release carbon dioxide.
Exploding bottles are all well and good, but we've now got to take it to the next step. And we have carefully constructed one of the most beautiful pieces of patisserie I have ever seen. The bottle with the dry ice, I'm going to
very delicately inserted into the cake. Oh, look at that. Would you look at that? Hang on a second. Lid on. Right, we've got to get behind the car. Look at it. Quick. Oh, get in there! It's impressive, but I need a spurting ejaculation, not an explosion.
It's a danger factor.
We can't. How are you going to eat? There's nothing left to eat. I didn't think it was going to be as powerful as that. Certainly, we have to tone this down, not cover the guests, certainly not maim them. The exploding cakes have given me an idea. I'm using the exact same chemical reaction and deliberately scaling it down. I'm going to make my cakes bubble up gently. I'm using dry ice, water and egg whites. Eureka! We have our first eruption. We're getting that lava effect. The bubbles are coming out nicely. It's fizzy. It's fizzy egg white. That's definitely a success.
Yeah.
So the next step is to see if that is strong enough to be able to make the custard erupt. I want this to bubble with saffron custard, as the original Roman cakes did. That was a real eruption. Continuing with my odyssey to create the ultimate Roman dessert, I'm searching for a cake that'll give me a spurting ejaculation. But my ejaculating dessert just isn't ready to please. I've a sturdy spurt, but no cake. It's a rather awkward problem to discuss, and I need professional help. This is kind of as much of a physical problem as anything else. We've got to somehow get the shape of the cake sorted. The size, the shape, how do we kind of aid that eruption? Cake maker Mish Turner makes wedding cakes for the discerning glitterati, including Madonna and David Beckham. She's agreed to an intimate chat about my little problem.
Hi. Yeah, good.
Right. It's based on somebody called Priapus, who apparently was the god of fertility, and the idea that somehow you kind of touched part of the cake and a saffron custard will come out. Mish needs to understand how my ejaculation will work. Now you can now see it's kind of...
it's steaming. It's like Mount Vesuvius. Are they not allowed to see what's kind of going on inside?
Ideally.
Right, I'm with you.
And just to make the challenge even more complex, we want to try and get it so by the time they finished eating the cake...
They don't know how it's done.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
All right.
Fortunately, Mish is a woman of the world and is adopting a no-nonsense practical approach. I need a cake solid enough to prevent leakage.
What I've done is try to produce you some cakes that have got a slightly denser texture. Okay, because I feel that if you're going to put anything inside, then if you've got a more solid wall structure, it's more likely to come out of the top. So this one is the lemon cake, so it's got quite an open texture.
This cake has a light crumb structure. To melt the dry ice and produce the gas, I'm adding my saffron custard followed by a sweet syrup.
It's coming up. I can't see. Oh, there's a couple of the holes there where it's coming out the side.
We've got a bit of seepage.
I don't think your god or whatever would be too happy about the seepage. We're going to go for a denser texture cake.
Yes.
Here we go. With the carrot cake, it's the sunflower oil base as opposed to butter base.
Nothing's come through.
Nothing's come through, but similarly, nothing's come out over.
The first two cakes aren't good enough. Now we're going for it with a heavyweight chocolate number.
You can see already it's dense.
Mish has an idea to force the custard upwards.
Just sealed that with buttercream on the outside.
Literally, like building a brick wall. Brick, plaster. So now she's going to wrap this with a white chocolate collar. Now that's interesting.
I can see custard. Well, that's certainly bubbling away. I think the chocolate cake has certainly been the one that's most supportive of that effect, you know, where it's come up and stayed quite intact on its structure.
Yeah, it's either got to be something more dense or something with a layer of fat to act as a barrier, hasn't it? I've taken inspiration from my cake consultation, and I'm using a dense white chocolate mousse. I've also constructed an ingenious little device to contain the eruption.
So here's how we've solved the massive problem of the ejaculating cake. And the key to it is this. It's a chocolate chamber, so it's sealed on all sides apart from here. It also had to be edible. We didn't want the guest to eat the cake and end up with a kind of piece of plastic in the centre.
I'm leaving nothing to chance. As extra protection against seepage, I'm using a paint gun to give an outer layer of chocolate to my dessert.
It's to give a really nice textured finish. Also, it'll have a slight crunch to it.
I've also added a surprise orgasmic sensation into the cake.
So this is a biscuit base that creates a sensation of things almost exploding in the mouth. So we've filled it with popping candy. Pop rocks, space dust, and then there'll be these sort of crackles going off in the back of your head.
Finally, I'm using syrup and egg white to erupt with the dry ice.
And then they get given a jug, placed on the table. The guest pours some of that into the cavity, hits the dry ice, causes the eruption, and there we are, my version of a fully fledged Roman ejaculating cake.
To get the guests randy, the ejaculating cakes were served with a statue of Priapus. So I prepared a little something.
Oh my great
God! Look at that, huge!
What the hell?
It's a willy.
That was what we were in.
I think it might be Priapus. It is trying to give all males an inferiority complex.
Speak for yourself, Lord Bart. Frankly, if I had a cook that spanned nearly 2 hands, I'd be thrilled.
I think it's a fake. But he's probably break open.
With my guests' imaginations fluffed up, it's time for dessert. These little cakes appear quite innocent, but inside, they're extremely naughty.
This looks really delicious.
Yes, I wonder what's going to happen.
The amphora that comes with their little amphora.
Oh, come on. Pour. Come on.
Eric. Would you like to pour your juices into the hole?
I'm not sure I like that turn of phrase.
Oh my God, amazing! It's a volcano.
Oh my God!
Whoa, hang on.
Whoa!
It's the ejaculating
Check this out.
pudding.
Oh my God.
That's incredible.
I've never had a sea urchin on my plate that did that.
Oh, bubbles! Mine has got bubbles. Oh,
Look at that.
Oh my word!
My God!
Hang on.
That's just wonderful.
Yeah, but what is
the bottom bit?
It's an ejaculating pudding.
Okay.
It's the biggest ejaculating pudding you've ever had that hasn't spat in your eye.
As a child, I adored the sudden crazy sensation of space dust.
oh my goodness!
Hang on, what's that?
It's like snap, crackle, pop.
It's like that thing from when you were a kid.
It's the popping candy.
Whoa!
Did you hear that?
Yeah. You got it? Yeah?
Look at that.
You're enjoying it.
It's like when Harry met Sally.
It's an orgasm in the mouth, actually. It's a mouthgasm. That's what it is.
It's a mouthgasm.
It's a mouthgasm.
I'm wondering if it's going to do it again. I want it to go again.
Give it 20 minutes.
It's everything we'd have hoped and wished for, really,
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely.
There were plenty of things there that were doing things to me there.
Were they delicious then?
They were delicious things.
As you will have seen, I just, I really got off on that, I have to say. I got off on it. It was very, very sexy.
The key to Heston's whole style of cooking is going back when one is a child. And the first time you eat something, you have that fabulous shock of surprise and delight.
He's amazing. You know, the guy is incredible. So you know that if you just eat it, if you forget about the other stuff and you just eat it, you're going to have a great time.
Heston! It was amazing.
I feel like I've succeeded in creating a truly Roman feast. I've shocked my guests, I've astonished them, but above all, I've created a truly exciting, theatrical meal of a lifetime.